Hello and welcome to the wow, I got ahead of myself there. Welcome to the Silver Lining, the weekly geekly talk show where we discuss whatever we feel like discussing in the world of gaming and pretty much whatever else we feel like talking about. I am your host, Uncle Silver, aka Greg, aka Silver Greg, whatever you feel like calling me. And I welcome you, my co-host, to chat. I love having you guys here to discuss, like I said, whatever we feel like discussing, and in many cases, to decide what we're going to discuss. I always have a hard time picking topics just because it's so, I have these things that I kind of want to talk about, and then sometimes I know that they're very specific, so I'm not really going to get into it, and then most of the time I just think, is this really, is this worthy of talking about? Is this interesting enough to have a conversation about? So I wanna say hello to everybody here. We got Torch 5013, Suave Rye, Wonder Bread, Phoenix Mendez, Ace Fox, Sean Latimer, Reform, Gamer Ghost, whoever else I'm missing here. Yeah, I said all of those names. Yeah, well, you know what? And Ryan is here. Ryan is here. Hello, Ryan. Just here to try and block out hearing my dad on the phone downstairs. Well, I'm happy to be a distraction for you. Hopefully he's on the phone for an hour and a half or so, and then we could fill up all that time with some show. I'm gonna get ahead of myself here. Normally, for the second half of the show, we normally do the video game cleaning. I'm not going to be doing that this week just because my desk is kind of a mess right here. I normally have the top-down camera angle, and then we show off me opening the games and everything. If you'd like, though, I will. Normally, that is also when I do the viewer portion topic of the viewer topic portion of the show. My brain is all over the place today. So we will still do that. If you guys have discussion things that you would like to ask and talk about, we will do that later. But we're just not going to be doing the video game cleaning like we normally do. My week has been kind of weird. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. And nothing really much. The one thing that does concern the show a little bit, I am looking to move my setup. My room here is kind of jam-packed, but this is the back bedroom where there's a washer and dryer in here. And
your idea
very
is
weird
to me, and I wish to subscribe to your
Metallic Madness, thank you for the follow. So it's but it's so jam-packed with stuff in here. I mean, you see this right here, there's some space here because this is a window. And then everything is jam-packed on the other side. I've got my TV, I've got my video game systems all set up, or at least displayed. I am locked into this position because the TV is right there. So when I do game streaming, I have to be facing that way. So the camera has to be facing this way. But if I move the camera over to that way, you're going to see a mess. So I don't want to do that. I'd rather have a more interesting background. I am in the process of selling a couple of games so that I can afford to get a gaming monitor and a slightly bigger desktop to fit it all. When I do that, I'm going to be able to turn the whole thing around. So you will actually see my background will actually be... actually, I'll show you right here. Well, I'll show you sort of. Hold on. And I apologize if this is not interesting to anybody. I just, you guys are a big part of being here. So I like to share this stuff with you guys. All right, so we got... This TV is going to be gone, and then I'll have room to put my Nintendo systems and everything. So I got some figures over there, and then all my systems over here on display. So I'll be able to change that up and share that with you guys. I like sharing that stuff. I like having that part of the display. And all right, sorry, that was a weird detour. You should get a green screen and anything. I thought about that, but I don't like green screens. I don't like when they do the distortion, when they don't work perfectly, and then there's a little bit of distortion. If I do, literally, if I were to do a green screen, it would just be a picture of my game room in the background. It would just be that. I see that Wii does have its GameCube. Oh, that Wii is an original Wii. So yeah, it does have the GameCube ports on it. That's actually what I use to play GameCube games on stream, just because I have the HDMI adapter out, so that makes it easier to stream. I apologize. I've gone on my first of many tangents, so I've been missing chat here. Yeah, we're at Midgard. That's pretty much what's going on. So that's basically just I'm waiting for these games to sell, and once they do, I'm researching monitors that I'm looking to get. There's a 27-inch Acer monitor that's $250 that I'm very interested in. I'm still deciding whether or not I want to spend some extra money and get the curved monitor, or if I'm fine with a flat. I definitely want the 27-inch. And then I'm going for the gaming. Okay, Sage is acting weird. I'm going for the gaming monitor because I'm a sucker for 144 hertz refresh rate. There should be a big painting of your nephew, Mark. A half man, half minotaur. No, well, Mark, if you think about it, we're all half minotaur. Actually, we're all half centaur. Have you ever seen the Mantar? The Mantar is probably one of my favorite mythical creatures. It's half man, half another man. It's very wild. 144 is sweet. I just bought one for I was looking at monitors and I saw them, and then I saw 60 hertz, and I'm like, oh, I can't do it. So that's that. I just wanted to talk about that for a little bit, because you guys are part of the show here, and I like to involve you in that stuff, because I want this all. I don't like the idea of, and I don't mind it because I know that that's important for a lot of other people, but I don't like the idea of I'm doing this thing and you either like it or don't. I like the idea of I share this stuff with you and it grows together and I get your input. You know, when I was looking into a green screen, one of my biggest reasons for debating it, like for going back and forth, was I asked, do you like the idea of green screen? A lot of people said that they liked the background, that they like the actual background of the room, and I do too. I think it's more personal to have my, and it doesn't have to necessarily be all video games, but I like the idea that my personal space, it's like I'm inviting you into my personal space in a way that I'm comfortable with, because I'm an introvert, so I don't normally have company over here. The monitor defaults to 60, so you have to get the setting to unlock. Go into the settings to unlock it. That's fine. Kyrie Hawk, rating with the party of 4. Welcome everybody from Kyrie Hawk's stream. Green screen and new monitor. How do I soul steal? Back, forward, half circle down around to back, forward again, button. So what? From your perspective, button. All right. I want to get started on some topics here, and again, welcome to everybody from Kyrie Hawk stream. I hope you had a good stream, and I hope that everybody is having a good day. So the first topic I want to get into, and I would like to thank Rye, I believe it was, who had this topic on Twitter that I would like to discuss, because it's an interesting topic, especially for nowadays that we're seeing a ton of it. What games would you like to see get a modern day remake? We both said Greg and Spade. What games would you like to see as a modern day remake? The first thing I wanna before you answer that, the first thing I want to address is what I want to see in a modern day remake, because there are two things. There are remakes and there are remasters. A remaster is essentially just a graphical overhaul. That's what I consider a remaster to be. It looks fancy. Mario 64 easily. It looks fancier, but maybe there are some buffs to the control, some changes to the controls, just for modernizing. You know, games that didn't have The controller didn't have as many buttons. Now you got more buttons to make some things easier. Then there are the remakes where it feels like everything is overdone, is redone. The graphics are redone. The controls are probably redone. Complete overhaul. When I talk about this, I'm talking about a complete overhaul. I'm talking about one of the biggest, and which is funny because they just released some news about this. One of the biggest examples to me, the biggest example to me of a remake the way it's supposed to be, was Resident Evil 1 from the PlayStation 1 and Saturn to the GameCube version. There is no greater example to me of a remake than that game. It is phenomenal the way they did everything. So Crash Insane is a remaster versus... I consider Crash Insane Trilogy to be a remake, a remaster. I do consider it to be... It helps that it's all 3-on-1, but I do consider just to be a remaster where they... No, okay. So here's the thing. That's a remake because they rebuilt the graphics engine. My understanding is that the graphics engine was rebuilt in order to recreate that game. If you take a game and just sharpen everything up, you change the textures and stuff. You know what I mean? This is why I have a problem with, they lost the source code. I think you should lose the source code. I think that you should be, if you want to really remake a game, I think you should rebuild the game from the ground up. I don't think that you should just take the source code and alter it. I think you should rebuild everything from the ground up. All right, so let's go up here. Zelda 1, Zelda 2. I absolutely agree with Zelda 2. Zelda 1, the only thing I need from Zelda 1 is that Breath of the Wild, they use like the Zelda 1 graphics to test out things for Breath of the Wild. I want that. If you've ever seen it, it looks amazing. I want that. Here you go. Take the Paper Mario engine and give me Zelda 1 and Zelda 2. Remake classic games like that. I have a lengthy decision on the Mega Man Zero games. Asura's Wrath I've never played, or Asura's Wrath. BS Zelda counts as a remake. Yeah, I would say that. Dragon Ball Raging Blast 2. I'm really hard thinking of one that hasn't been already done. Yeah. I got one already, or it's more like two. This is the two Sonic Adventure games. The two Sonic Adventure games, I believe, were remasters. I don't think that they were all new graphics engines. I think they were just sort of... Oh! Stream died again. We died. All right, we died. We buffered heavily. Hold on, I think we're back. Breath of the NES. It's really slow. Are we good? Yeah, I think we're back. Yeah, I'm back. Okay. I saw it drop, but then I saw it come right back. So apparently the problems aren't completely fixed, but we didn't really drop it all this last week. Original Metroid desperately needed to go the zero mission route. What they did to the first game from the first game to zero mission was remarkable. Can we remake Star Fox 1 for the 5th time? Star Fox 64 was Star Fox 1 just again, right? I have it. I've never played it. Remake is the best remake of all time gaming so far, although remake 2 looks like it'd get close. Yeah, I'm curious to see the Resident Evil 2 remake. Remaster is simply upgrading existing textures. Remaking is from the ground up. Reimagining, reimaginings I don't see too often as far as reimaginings. I would imagine that Tomb Raider. If you want to, I think if they were going to consider anything a reimagining, might be something like Tomb Raider, where the entire tone of the game was different. You know, when you went from Resident Evil PlayStation to Resident Evil GameCube, you still ended up with a horror game. You still ended up with a survival horror game with the same kind of elements and everything. I think that when you go into the what was it, 2012 Tomb Raider, I think that felt like almost a different kind of game. Obviously it was still an adventure game, but the scope at which you do things, it was so large,
Your ideas are
it almost felt
intriguing
different
and
to
I
me.
wish to subscribe to your
Mega
newsletter.
Master, thank you so much for emerging for the follow. I'm moving ahead here as far as topics here. Sorry to bring this calamity of a device again, but remaster every game that came out in the end. You in the end gauge. Oh my God! Why don't you marry it if you want, if you love it so much? Why don't you marry it? But Frisch, you have to get engaged. See, I had a sound for that. Where is it? I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm going to play it anyway. Remake the Philips CDI. Phoenix, I would love the Philips CDI games remastered. The two Link games, I would love them remastered in Zelda 2's graphics. I thought Zelda 2's graphics engine was fantastic. I liked it. Just, it's a very simple idea. You can get, the CDI's Link games were passable. It's just the controller was atrocious, and then the gameplay itself had tons of technical issues. The Zelda game was a disaster. The game was fine. The Zelda CDI game was fine. Hey there, my baby. Hold on. The Zelda CDI game was fine, except for the graphics, the music, the controls, the story, the action, the items that you chose, the price of it. But other than that, the cover was fine. The cover was totally fine. Oh my God, HD remake of Cobra Triangle. National Treasure. Zelda CDI game. Yeah, in concept they weren't bad. In practice they were god awful. Final Fantasy VIII should be remade. Better balancing, less nonsensical. I think 7, 8, and 9 should be completely redone. I think they should be rebuilt from the ground up. As the games that they are, I have zero confidence in whatever Final Fantasy VII remake they have in the works. I have no confidence whatsoever that will be even remotely close to the 7 that we know and love. I feel like it's going to be Final Fantasy 13/7. I just think that that's what they're going to do to it, and I'm terrified that that's what they're going to do to it. At the very least, it better have the mansion scene where you can look in the keyholes. And if they remove the Cloud dressing up, I'm gonna be furious. Why not remake the Donkey Kong Country? I'd like an idea of the remake of the Donkey Kong Country games. That to me should be done. I think, and you know what? I think those games were good enough that all they really need is a remaster. I think that you could remaster the Donkey Kong Country games just as they are. Maybe fix a little bit of the jank because people refuse to admit it, but the controls were a little bit janky on those games, in my opinion. Fix that, remaster the graphics, and you're fine. But if you want to rebuild it from the ground up, yes. I think games that either graphically or gameplay wise haven't aged well. Jiggle. One thing that I will ask for though is games that were at least good at their time. Look, I'm sorry. I know that we give bad games a lot of crap, but we love them for it. Bubsy 3D and stuff like that. We give them we give them a pass because they're so bad they're good. But that doesn't mean that they deserve remakes. I don't like the idea of remaking or remastering a game that was terrible in its time. I don't think that's an okay thing to do. I think that those resources need to go towards games that deserved it. Games that did something interesting at that time. We don't need that. We don't need a Mort the Chicken remaster or remake. I love that game, but we don't need it. You know, and I think the whole, like when Shaq Fu was redone or Shaq Fu was they made a new one. I was kind of like, When Bubsy came back, I was furious. I was like, okay, look, I'm sorry. I know that it's a funny gag and everything, but it wasn't good. People remember it for not being good. Is the company that did Superman 64 still around? That was Titus, wasn't it? I have it somewhere. I think that was Titus. DK64 remaster, I'll take that. Remake Far Cry 1. I still think 9 holds up. Not enough to be remade. Not enough to be remade. Remastered then. I loved 9. I thought Final Fantasy 9 was great. Keep the gameplay, but remake all the graphics, music, cutscene. Yeah, rebuild some of that stuff. I want to remake a Final Fantasy 6. I want to remake a Final Fantasy 6 only if it uses the Octopath Traveler graphics. Every single game like that with any Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy 6, even Final Fantasy 4, Secret of Mana, I think all of these games deserve remakes using the Octopath Traveler graphic system. Unbelievable. What was that? The Unity engine, right? I think that was the Unity engine. Remake Far Cry 1. I didn't play Far Cry, so I can't honestly say remake Far Cry 1, but it does raise an interesting point. I don't know, was Far Cry 1 also a first person game like that? Because while I didn't play Far Cry, I'm gonna jump ahead here. Octopath wasn't even that good. Mendez, if you didn't like the game, that's fine, but you can't possibly tell me that the graphics engine was not spectacular. More like Disgaea HD. Oh, okay. Everybody with their heart on Octopath graphics. Titus doesn't exist anymore. Okay, there we go. Big rigs. Far Cry, I'm not too familiar with as far as what kind of game it was. I'll tell you what I think is still enduring as a name enough to probably deserve some kind of remake. Warcraft 1, Orcs, what was it, Orcs and Humans? I think that could be remade. I think that would be with modern day graphics as even if you wanted to just make it like a cell phone kind of game. I think that could be remade into something very interesting. I loved Diablo 3. Give me Diablo 1 and 2 remakes with that graphic style. Why not remake some older Simpsons games? Not a bad idea. It's not. It really isn't. Jax 1 and 3 deserve. I thought they had remasters. Parasite Eve and Vagrant Story. Absolutely. Remake of OG Metal Gear 1. Oh, Metal Gear, not Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, I could go for that. As long as we get both of them. As long as we get 1 and 2. And not Snake's Revenge, actual 2. Jack 1 and 3 have upscales. Okay. So sort of like remasters, basically. And I love Jet Moto. I loved Jet Moto, and I think it was Jet Moto 2 had one of the funniest commercials where the race starts and the guy's not moving, and there's like an old lady playing it, but she doesn't know how to play it. So the guy in the game on the bike gets off the bike and he's yelling at her. One of my favorite PlayStation 1 commercials. Totally need a Sinnoh remakes. Yeah, sure. Stares at this man's face for 10 minutes. Oh boy. I'm trying not to miss I want to tinkle. Who's hyped today? Red Dead Redemption 2. I didn't play Red Dead Redemption. I'm not going to say I'm not a fan of it or anything. I never really played it. I'm interested to see what kind of game it is. Something I love to see completely redone. Mario Land 2. Mario Land 2 sounds interesting. Mario Land 1 and 2. Is Super Mario Land, are they canon? Canon is like canon in the crazy world of Mario and the Mushroom Kingdom. Although that's not Mushroom Kingdom, that's, what was it? Sahara Land? What? Sahara Land? I keep thinking of Sahara Sam from Link to the Past. Sunshine Remake. I don't need a Sunshine Remake. Take a Sunshine Remaster. I think when you see Mario Sunshine running in 1080p 60 frames per second, I think you know that all it needs is a remaster. Mario Land 1 introduced Daisy and Mario. Yeah, I guess they are canon. Sarasala Land. God, somebody's cat just walked across the keyboard when they made the name of that place. Yeah, it's like Sarasala Land. I'm a little surprised that the person didn't turn into Freakazoid with the way that name had to have come into creation. That's why it's called 3D Land. Sarasa Land. Okay, so that's an extra. Sarasa Land. Okay, there was an extra one in there. Yeah, that's just like somebody's cat just walked along the keyboard. You like do you like that deep cut Freakazoid reference there? Yeah, Sunshine in 1080. Yeah, I've seen Sunshine in 1080p 60 frames per second, and the game's fine. It basically just needs a remaster so that everybody has access to it. Air Guys, interesting. You know what? Not Air Guys. Tobal number 1. I don't want them to remake games that are perfectly functional. I want them to remake games that have not stood the test of time. Yeah, I would like to see, Suave, I'm a big fan of adding features that will modernize games. You know me, you know that I love my maps in game. So I any game that didn't have a map or a functional map, I think it should have it. But games that would benefit from things like twin stick controls, games that benefit from having extra buttons, I think that stuff would be more viable to me than just updating the graphics and like rebuilding the engine. I'd say Adventures of Batman and Robin on the SNES, but the Arkham games do well enough. Let me ask you, Ryan, the Batman and Robin, the Adventures of Batman and Robin, aren't there, like, there's 3 different versions of that, because there's Super Nintendo, Genesis, and Sega CD. Aren't they 3 different games? Isn't that one of those weird ones that like 3 different games came out? What are your thoughts on the price of remasters? That's a loaded question, but I'm gonna take it. I think that developers should be paid for the work that they're doing. That being said, I find it hard for me to spend anything more than $30, maybe $40 on a remaster of a game. Other than that, I don't believe that a remaster, even with some extra features, should be a $60 game. Ooh, ActRaiser. Now you're talking. The SNES and Genesis are different, but I don't know about the Sega CD. I think I have the Sega CD one, and I think it starts with a driving sequence. I think it's different. Ooh, Skies of Arcadia HD. That is going to lead us into another topic that I wanna get into. Gunstar Heroes remake. I don't know, some of those games. See, some of those platform shooters, run and gun shooters, I think are perfect the way they are. I just need remasters of them. The Simpsons sitting. Agent Ace 5, you love that Simpsons hit and run. I know you love that hit and run, man. Honestly, my opinion, 20 to 40 is what I feel is about right, unless it's a remake for. Yeah, if you're talking a rebuild from the ground up, when someone finally listens to me and rebuilds Panzer Dragoon Saga from the ground up, because someone, if I keep shouting it from the mountaintops, someone's going to listen to me and realize you'll make $1 billion if you rebuild this game from the ground up. Maybe not $1 billion, maybe like 900 million. When somebody finally realizes that it is worth rebuilding that game from the ground up, that is a $60 game. That game is inaccessible in its normal form, almost. It will be a massive undertaking in order to rebuild it. That is worth $60. Taking a game and remastering the graphics engine when you already have the source code doesn't feel like a $60 game to me. I'm very concerned about the Resi 2 remake. Disgaea 1 remake. Yeah, aren't there? Yeah, there are like 5 of those. No, they're not remakes, though. They're just remasters, aren't they? Man, the chat got sassy. The Resident Evil 2 remake, am I right? Sass is our spirit. Of course. Oh, see, you guys are killing me. Now I'm missing, when I used to play Warcraft, I played with a guy named Sassafras. And whenever I hear Sass, I always think of that guy. I don't know why. Oh, Ryan, have a good one. I hope your dad is off the phone. Sassy Chat. I like Sassy Chat. Sassy Chat is, I thought Sage was our spirit animal. Yeah, let's get some Sage emotes. Yeah, I like Sassy Chat. Yeah, oh, there you go. Sage is the mascot.